getting great cooperation from the local mariners. It is fishing season, of course, here in the Atlantic, and everybody's just waiting on the edge of the hazard area for us to launch for them to get out to the fishing ground. So hopefully that will be continue, and we're coming up here on launch in about 14 minutes. And continuing on the RockSat-C universities that are participating, again, we have Carthage College, Magnesium State, Old Dominion University, Oregon Institute of Technology, Temple University, University of Delaware, and University of Vermont. This year, RockOn had 102 participants in the program. Typically, these students would actually come to Wallops in a workshop, and they would basically have a very quick course in learning how to build, and they would build their experiments and we would fly them within the week. However, this time, because of COVID restrictions, they were able to do this virtually, and students worked individually or in teams, and they were able to, at their own schedule, develop and work on their experiments and then ship them to Virginia or Colorado Space Grant, which then brought those here to Wallops for integration into the rocket earlier this week. So the rocket we're flying on today is the Terrier-Improved Orion, which is one of the smaller of the NASA sounding rockets. However, this rocket is extremely fast, so don't blink. The Terrier motor will burn out in 5.2 seconds after launch. At that time, it will be 1.2 miles, flying at 1,606 miles an hour. The second stage Orion ignites at 15 seconds after launch, burns out at 40.4 seconds. At that point, it's 21 miles altitude and traveling at 28.52 miles an hour.
RSO, start away. Go for RSO. Provide Pad 2 MRL launcher preliminary wind-weighted settings.
Settings are azimuth 112.4, elevation 85.0.
Azimuth 112.4, elevation 85.0.
Good readback.
Check 98. LC, this is ROA.
This is LC.
Set MRL launcher to azimuth 112.4, elevation 85.0.
In work.
The payloads this morning will be carried to an altitude of 67 miles approximately. That will occur in just under 172 seconds into the flight. They will descend by parachute, which will deploy at about 461 seconds into the flight at 2.8 miles altitude, and then we expect the splash to occur around 80 seconds after launch. The payloads will then be recovered by one of the local boulders that we work with, and he will go out and get that, bring the payloads back. We'll then de-integrate the payload, the experiments out of the payload, and then Colorado Space Grant will ship those back to the experimenters.
ROA, LC.
Go for ROA.
MRL launcher settings are azimuth 112.4, elevation 85.0.
Good readback. Check 99.
RSO, TD on 1.
Go for RSO.
Yeah, please provide status on impact area clearance.
Stand by 1. TD RSO, the hazard area is clear.
Copy all. PMTD, item 101 is not required.
As the test director stating that we will not be holding the count this morning, that we will continue.
Proceed as requested. Range of screen.
For an 8 a.m. launch this morning. And also as a programming note that after the mission this morning is completed, we will be joining the spacewalk at the International Space Station coverage on NASA TV. And in just about 30 seconds, we'll be hearing the final poll for continuance from the different stations here at Wallops to continue with this morning's launch.
All stations, this is ROA on Channel 1. This is NRW 6138, Terrier Mark 12 Improved Orion launching from Pad 2 MRL launcher. Please stand by for station checks. All stations should announce status as green or red on Channel 1. RC.
RC is green.
M&O.
M&O is green.
Programmer.
Programmer green.
LWO.
LWO is green.
LC.
LC is green.
PLC.
PLC is green.
LPM.
LPM is green.
MM.
MM is green.
RCE.
RCE is green.
SCO.
Stand by for SCO. SCOs go, I guess. We're currently tracking a couple targets, but let me give you a call here in just a second for SCO.
ROA, you can proceed. Go pending.
SRPO.
SRPO is go.
PM. RSO.
RSO, go pending surveillance.
TD.
TD is go pending surveillance. All stations, this is TD. All stations are responsible for reviewing the go, no-go criteria listed in the MOD. Only stations annotated with an asterisk in the previous step are permitted to call hold. All other sites report red. Check item 104.
And you heard that all stations currently are reporting green, still waiting for the final report from the surveillance officer who is looking at boats that may be downrange in the hazard areas. We should receive that report fairly soon.
TD SRPO.
Go for TD.
Let's hold this at 5 minutes until SCO gives us a green.
TD copies. Programmer, this is TD.
SCO concurs with the hold at 5 minutes.
Programmer, I heard that.
Yes, let's hold at 5. Count down and hold at 5, please.
Copy.
MM, you copy?
This is MM.
We're going to hold at T-minus 5. Copy?
Copy that.
T-minus 5 minutes and hold.
TD RSO on 1.
Go for TD.
Yes, sir. Can you meet me on 5?
Moving to 5.
And we are now at T-minus 5 minutes and holding, waiting for reports from the surveillance officer to make sure that we're clear in the hazard areas, downrange, and over the ocean. And you can see on the pad there the Terrier-Improved Orion suborbital sound rocket ready for launch. You also see in the background a balloon flying in the upper left corner of the picture. That balloon is, we fly those during the day. That lets mariners know that we're doing a launch operations for the day. So that's another one of our processes that we use for working with the mariners to let them know that we're doing a mission. And the rocket we're flying this morning, the sound rocket, is a solid fuel vehicle, extremely fast. It's an unguided system, so it will be spinning up as it flies, which helps control the stability of the rocket. Think of it kind of like when someone is shooting an arrow, and that if you look at an arrow, or if you could look at an arrow, it will spin a little bit, that the fins are on the arrow are canted. That gives it that spinning motion, and it's the same thing we do with these rockets. So we're looking at a target in the sky that we're looking to fly at. So based on the winds at the ground level and also upper level, we will fly various balloons throughout the morning. That gives us the winds at up to 100,000 feet, and that will allow us to move the launcher to the right angles in order to hit that target in the sky. As I mentioned, that the students prepared their rockets in the RockOn program virtually this year instead of coming here to Wallops. This allowed us actually to build more experiments than what the rocket can hold. So we will be flying 32 of the experiments on the rocket itself. And then this fall, there are 34 experiments that will fly on the high altitude student balloon platform through the Louisiana Space Consortium on a NASA scientific balloon in the fall of 2021 from Fort Sumner, New Mexico.
PM to SCO. PM to SCO. Channel 1.
PM, this is SCO. You calling?
Confirm. Just wanted to see if you had a status yet.
Yes, sir. We've got two confirmed targets to the south edge of the hazard pattern right now. We're currently red. We need to get some accurate positions on these in order for us to pass along to safety for a risk assessment.
Copy.
And there you heard the surveillance officer report that they're just trying to get a good status to provide to the safety folks so they can crunch the numbers and make sure we're safe to launch, that the two boats that are on the edge of the hazard area are in a good position, that they are safe for us to launch. This has been an extremely busy year here at Wallops on the launch range. Just on June 15th, we launched a Minotaur 1, which is North Grumman rocket for the U.S. Space Force, carrying a payload for our three satellites for the National Reconnaissance Office. And then coming up, starting July 6th, we have two sounding rockets that will be launched between July 6th and July 20th. And more information will be coming out on those in the next week. But those will be studying it's called Dynamo 2. And those two rockets will not be launched on the same day. They will be launched on separate days. But one is looking for some ionospheric conditions where there is some activity, and then the other one is looking at a quiet period so they can compare the two. Launch windows for that missions, the 6th through the 13th, the launch window will be 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And on the 13th or the 14th through the 20th, launch window moves to 8 a.m. to noon. And live coverage will be carried on the Wallops YouTube site for those missions 20 minutes before the launch window opens. And if you're just joining us, we are currently at T-minus 5 minutes and holding for the launch of a Terrier-Improved Orion suborbital sending rocket from NASA's Wallops Flight Facility in Virginia. We are currently holding to assess the boats that are currently on the edge of the hazard area to make sure that they are safe when we do launch. And so once they crunch the numbers and determine that we're good to go, they're going to re-poll everyone to all the stations to make sure we're good to continue for launch.
TDRSO on 1.
Go for TD.
Can you meet me on 5, please?
Moving to 5.
PM, this is Emmanuel Channel 1.
Go ahead.
Permission to be on console for a couple of minutes?
Sure.
All stations, this is TD on Channel 1. Just want to provide a update to the launch team. We're currently holding at T-minus 5 minutes for a range of Fowler. We should have an update from safety in approximately 15 minutes, so that's 12:25 Zulu, after which we'll either remain red in a hold or proceed to terminal. Either way, if we proceed to terminal, we will re-poll for terminal at step 103. TD out.
And there you just heard from the test director that we're currently holding for at least another 15 minutes before we pick up the count while they assess boats that could be in our hazard area and crunch the numbers there. So it's going to take about 15 minutes for that to happen. And then at the T-minus 5 minute mark, if everything is clear, they'll do another poll to proceed, and then we'll pick up the count at the T-minus 5 minute mark. And from the NASA's Wallops Flight Facility, we're still currently at T-minus 5 minutes and holding for the launch of the Terrier-Improved Orion suborbital sounding rocket carrying the RockOn and RockSat-C educational payloads. We still have about another 10 minutes for them to be looking at the surveillance picture of boats, aircraft in the area to make sure that we're clear that we don't have any safety issues there with parts that could fall down and hit the boats. And then, so we expect the safety and the surveillance officer to report out in about 10 minutes on their status. This morning's launch is, as I mentioned, one of the smaller launches. Rockets in the fleet. This vehicle we're flying today with payload is about 39 feet tall. It will be visible only in the immediate area. So if you're on the eastern shore of Maryland, Virginia, and southern Delaware, you might be able to see it depending on cloud cover in your area. And also the western side of the Chesapeake Bay directly across from Wallops, we think you may be able to see it. So this launch is not going to be as visible, basically because of the size of the rocket. And but hopefully, for those of you who are in the area, that you do get to view this one. And also keep in mind that there is a little bit of a lag between what you're seeing on the stream or on NASA TV from actual events here at NASA Wallops, so take that into account when you're trying to go out and watch the launch. And we're continuing to hold at the T-minus 5 minute mark here at Wallops for the launch of the Terrier-Improved Orion suborbital sound rocket. We expect to hear probably in about 5 minutes or so from the range safety officer and surveillance officer the status on the range to make sure that we're clear of all boats and aircraft
TDRSO on
downrange.
1.
Go for TD.
Hey, can you meet me on 5, please?
Moving to 5. All stations, this is TD on Channel 1. Cleared the Fowlers, range is currently green. However, we need to update the launcher settings. ROA will lead that, and then we'll proceed into the terminal count poll. And after the poll, I'll coordinate a new T0 with programmer.
RSO, ROA.
Go for our.
Ready for those updated settings?
Yes, ma'am. Settings are azimuth 111.1, elevation 85.3.
Azimuth 111.1, elevation 85.3.
Good readback.
LC, this is ROA.
LC.
Set MRL launcher to azimuth 111.1, elevation 85.3.
In work. ROA, LC.
Go for ROA.
MRL launcher settings are azimuth 111.1, elevation 85.3.
Good readback. All stations, this is ROA on Channel 1. This is NRW 6138, Terrier Mark 12 Improved Orion, launching from Pad 2 MRL launcher. Please stand by for station checks. All stations should announce status as green or red on Channel 1. RC.
RC green.
M&O.
M&O green.
Programmer.
Programmer green.
LWO.
LWO green.
LC.
LC green.
PLC.
PLC green.
LPM.
LPM is green.
MM.
MM green.
RCE.
RCE is green.
SDO.
SDO is green.
SRPO.
SRBO is green.
PM.
PM's green.
RSO.
RSO green.
TD.
TD is green.
Check 103.
Program, this is TD.
Go ahead.
You can pick it up on the top if you have time, please.
Copy that on the top. .5 minutes and counting. PLC check 106.
And we picked up the count. Launch time will be at
PM to
8:32 a.m. Eastern
Go
Time.
ahead, PM.
Interrogate transponder and verify good 5 code.
In work. PM, this is the M&O.
Go ahead.
Sir, I got good 5 code on radars 3 and 5.
Copy. Check item 107.
RSO, SAR
Go for RSO.
Provide MRL final wind-weighted settings.
Final settings are azimuth 111.1, elevation 85.3.
Copy, no change from previous settings. LC, this is ROA.
LC.
No change to settings. Azimuth is 111.1, elevation 85.3.
Copy.
Check 108, check 109.
PLC check 110, 112, 113, 114.
PM to M&O.
Go ahead, PM.
Confirm transponder good on internal power.
Stand by. PM, this is the M&O.
Go ahead.
I can confirm no change.
Copy. Check item 111.
T-minus 2 minutes. T-minus 1 minute.
check 117. Payload status is go.
LC, Terrier booster armed.
30 seconds. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Radars 3 and 5 are tracking. Good job, radars.
And we had a good launch this morning of the Terrier-Improved Orion Sounding Rocket carrying the RockOn RockSat-C payloads from NASA's Wallops Flight Facility in Virginia. Launch time was 8:32 a.m. Eastern Time. The rocket is currently, payload is still flying. It will reach apogee at about the 8:35 mark. Then it will descend by parachute. With deployment of the parachute is about 2.8 miles altitude, and it will land in the ocean where the payloads will be recovered. The experiments will be brought back here to Wallops, cleaned up, and then the Colorado Space Grant Consortium will ship those experiments back out to the students for them to do analysis and look at their experiments to see how they performed, and possibly for the next time around improve on their designs. So that concludes today's mission from Wallops. Next launch from here at Wallops. Again, window opens on July 6th, runs through the 20th of July. There'll be 2 sounding rockets as part of the mission, Dynamo 2. And those rockets will be launched on separate days with different windows. So just follow us on the Wallops website and also on our Facebook and Twitter sites for further information on those launches. And for those who are following on, we will now be joining the International Space Station and the spacewalks occurring there. Thank you and have a good day.